It is Victoria, and I am able-bodied or part-time wheelchair user. And I am because of the dysautonomia, because if I walk too long, like before I found out that there was such a thing as a part-time wheelchair user, and I would go to Universal or I would go to Disney, there were times I got there and I just couldn't function anymore. Forward momentum pull was a task that my service dogs knew that we used, because sometimes I just couldn't, and I wondered how I'm going to get out of the park, right? So the wheelchair has made it much easier for me to go longer distances, and I like it, right? So not everybody has that option of being a part-time wheelchair user, and some people are full-time, and I totally understand that. But if you're a part-time wheelchair user and you have a service dog, your service dog needs to know how to use an escalator. Why? Because if there's an escalator, there's always an elevator, right? Wrong. Sometimes the elevator's out of order or what have you. But here's why. When we arrived in Washington, D.C., we decided to take the metro from Reagan Airport to the Grand Hyatt on H Street. And they told us which line to take there, at the metro station, because I don't understand how that stuff works, We don't have that down in Sumterville. So we were told to take, I think it was the yellow line, and that was going to end us like 5 blocks from the hotel. Okay. So getting from the airport to the metro platform, it wasn't the way we were going. They let us go through, check in one way, and they're like, oh no, wait a minute. You have to come out that way, and you have to go in to take this elevator up. Okay. Well, they're old creaky elevators, and that can be a little scary, but okay. We get up to the platform. To get onto the metro train, there's a gap. So I had to get off of the wheelchair to push it onto the train so I don't get stuck or catapult myself, because that wouldn't be fun either. So, okay, so we're on it. We get off of it over, I don't remember where it was, but it was over in like the China area, Chinatown. So we get off. We didn't know where the elevator is. The signs there are not the greatest. So they're like, oh, here's the elevator. So we go up the elevator and we go to exit, because we found out where the exit was, and we're told no. We have to go back to the elevator, down to the platform, over to some other elevator somewhere. I don't know where. And then we could go up that one twice. And then that's where the elevator is for me to exit. Just telling me to go and find another elevator isn't the way I do things. I was peopled up to here at this point. I was not feeling great. It was really warm on the plane. Southwest, turn on the air conditioning, please. And I couldn't. I just couldn't. So James was with me. So James had his luggage, his 2 check bags and his carry-on. I had my wheelchair, Bert, my backpack, and my big luggage. So we get through the turnstile, and it's just an escalator. There's 2 big escalators to get to the top, which is the road, like where we need to get to. 2 big escalators to get up there. And luckily, I have a fold and go wheelchair, and it collapses. So we collapsed my wheelchair. He took the luggage up. I followed with my backpack and Bert. He came back down, got my wheelchair, which was collapsed, and brought that up the escalator for me. And then up, and I kept an eye on the luggage. And then we moved the luggage over to the next escalator, and we did the same exact thing. We collapsed the wheelchair. He went up with the luggage when he was about halfway up. I went up with Bert, keeping an eye on the wheelchair. As soon as he left the luggage alone, he had his eye on my wheelchair, and I had my eye and my body then on the luggage. It was a mess. If you remember in school, the what was it, like a rabbit, a fox, and a bear have to cross a river, and they're all going to eat each other, and how do you get them across, get all 3 of them across the river in a boat that holds 2? Like that really weird thing? Yeah, that's kind of how it was. How do we get up here safely, not lose anything, and not have anything stolen from us? So finally we did get to the top, luckily, because Bert's done escalators with my trainers. Now we have guidelines for service dogs, not just dogs, but service dogs on escalators, and they include how wide are the treads on the escalator, and can the dog's nail fit in them? If the dog's too small, the nail could fit in the tread, and we don't want that. So Bert is about a 57-pound golden retriever. So his nails are big enough, they're not going to get in there. How long are the dog's nails? How big are they? How long are they? We keep Bert's nails short, and before every excursion like this, I do make sure that we Dremel them, right? They get Dremeled weekly, but we make sure that, that they're done. Does he have Grinch feet? Does he have little feathers coming out between his toes, between his paw pads, anything that can get caught? And he doesn't, and we always, we do shave the pads. The fur between the pads, we don't shave the pads themselves, but the fur, we make sure that that's all short and that he doesn't have Grinch feet that could get caught. How long are his tail feathers and his bloomers, his pantaloons in the back? And lucky for him, being a field line golden, he doesn't have a bunch of extra coat. So I didn't have that to worry about. And he had done escalators before. So even though when we go to the mall, when we go to Disney and Universal, which is where we can see escalators usually, one of my trainers will bring him up and down, so he's used to it. And he's going to need a little bit more, but we need more just on stair work, period, because I don't use stairs when we're out. So my trainers are going to do that for me. So every service dog, if you're able-bodied wheelchair, don't think to yourself, I will always have a elevator available, because something might happen like this, where we needed to get out of there now, and he needed to go up the escalator, and my collapsed wheelchair had to go up the escalator too. We got surface side, we have 5 big city blocks we had to walk to get to the hotel, to the Grand Hyatt. And I had put my backpack on the back of my wheelchair. I had Bert, I had my big suitcase. James had his 2 suitcases and his carry-on, and we're trekking through Washington, D.C. As we're doing it, the beautiful sidewalks that are brick, we're missing bricks, which means that we either went a ba-boom, or we had to go and go around it. Around that, so it looked like I was a little bit of drunk driving in my wheelchair, which I was not doing. And then at the crosswalks, they did have the countdown timer and to let you know how long to get across, which worked out very fine. However, there was only a small area that you could get a wheelchair down onto the street. The rest of it was curb. Next time, just make the whole thing a giant angle to get on, right? Now, if you're pushing a stroller, it might not be bad because you can do a wheelie. It's harder to do a wheelie in a wheelchair, especially in an electric wheelchair. Those are my major complaints about DC. Is it's not wheelchair friendly. It's wheelchair accessible to a degree. Accepting. Yeah. You know how you can have like friends with somebody, or you can have acquaintances? Yeah, it wasn't wheelchair friendly. It was wheelchair acquaintance. What can they do different? Better signage in the metro saying for wheelchairs how to get in and out, or a special brochure for wheelchair users on how to navigate it. Make the distance between, because they had a wheelchair train car on the metro. I noticed it, so we had to go down to it. So maybe if that was painted on the platform, that would have been a lot easier. So I would have known which one had the wheelchair spot. And so we could have gone there and waited for it instead of seeing it and having to, chase after it. Having it easier to get onto that one instead of having the gap, which I know there has to be a gap, but maybe something that flips down whenever the doors open. Signage, like I said, signage, like wheelchair to road is here. This is the exit. Because I don't know why there was even the other elevator. Like if you can't get down there, why do you have an elevator that leads to nowhere? That was strange. Fix the bricks and make it so you don't have speed bumps when you hit it. Because now my wheelchair is making weird noises. And so my husband has to look at it when we get home, if I can get the wheelchair home. I'm hoping I can make it home and I don't have any more issues. But it has been making weird noises since we've been here. So come on, DC. You know what? Politicians, take a day on the town in wheelchairs and see how it goes for the rest of the citizens who are in wheelchairs. Do it. Try it. See how you think. And I bet some stuff will get changed.